Minnesota Fighting Vikings had one of the worst defenses in the National Football League last season, and frankly, the last two seasons. And easy Ed Donatel, longtime defensive guru, bounced around the league, great defensive mind. He was brought in with the new regime, Kevin O'Connell, to transform the defense from the 4-3 to the 3-4 and be actually good for a change. And the Vikings had their debut, and so they had their debut week 1 against the greasy Green Bay Packers, and they look pretty damn good. Like, obviously, they still have some wrinkles to iron out, but how can you not be anything other than impressed? Bottom line, they held the alleged back-to-back NFL MVP to 7 points. Well, actually, he didn't even have 7. A.J. Dillon did. So Rodgers had a 0 goose egg. D'Angelo Russell touchdowns. He got picked off. He also had a fumble, plus 273 total yards of offense before Jordan Love garbage time. Also, Jordan Love quarterback controversy, question mark, in Green Bay. So we got 10 things we learned about the new Ed Donatel defense. Number 1, we after that ass, Jimmy. That's right. Vikings were second in the league in sacks last season. They continue to be having a prodigious pass rush. 18 pressures, 4 sacks, and plus they got 4 deep at edge rusher. Daniil, Za'Darius, DJ Wanham got a covered sack. Also got Patrick Jones second, getting some good snaps, getting some pressures as well. And they're coming after you from all angles, man. I absolutely love to see it. Aaron Rodgers was under siege all day long, and it is a passer and get the passer league, and the Vikings can certainly get the passer. And like we said, this defense is built to be playing with a lead downhill when the other team has to go into pass mode. So, I mean, this defense, this pass rush, ooh, baby. Next up, thing number 2, we learned about the new defense, rotation up front. So, not only was a rotation with the edge rushers, but all 5 active defensive linemen on the game day roster Sunday against the Packers played at least 10 plus snaps, including new defensive lineman Ross Blacklock coming over from the Texans. So Donatel is rotating things up front. He's keeping veterans like Harrison Phillips and Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson fresh, and it's going to pay dividends because they're fresher later in games. They're going to be fresher later in the season, and you have guys lining up at 1 tech, 3 tech, 5 tech, all the techs all over the place. So you really don't know what you're going to get if you're an offensive player, what you're going to get from the Vikings defense, because they're going to be multiple, they're going to be attacking, and it's everything that they said it was going to be in the offseason. Next up, thing number 3 that we learned about the Vikings' new defense, moving 55 and 99 all over the place, because as an offense, there's something calming about, yes, you're up against a great player, but you generally know where he's going to be. But the fact that Za'Darius Smith lined up actually both of them, they lined up on the left, they lined up on the right, they were stand up, hand in the dirt, they were over the tackle, they were over the guard. Za'Darius Smith was moving all over the place, man, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see where it's very disconcerting where, yes, you're going up against Daniil and Za'Darius, but they're not static. They're moving all over the place. They're probing for weakness. And the great thing about it is that they're going to change up the game plan every single week. So they're going to target a weak link along the offensive line. They're going to target where a quarterback has a blind spot. They're going to target where there's just probing for weakness. And I absolutely love it, man. It's breath of fresh air. Next up, thing number 4, we learned about the Vikings' new defense. Harrison is still Harrison. Now, I had some concerns because Harrison Smith has played in the Zimmer defense for the bulk of his career, minus 2 seasons with Leslie. So what was it going to be like? And Donatel, frankly, has used him like Donatel and Fangio used Justin Simmons in Denver, where he's allowing him to roam all over the place. Harrison is still out there making some plays, and 22, this may be the shot in the arm fountain of you things, where sometimes change is good. And even though Harrison obviously was a superstar in the Zimmer defense, he looks reborn. I saw the light, I've been baptized. Thing number 5, run defense still needs some work. Like we said, there's a couple wrinkles there, but the Vikings' run defense hasn't been great over the last 2 seasons, and under the new 3-4, there's going to be some growing pains. Even though Harrison Phillips holding down the middle as center of the defense, Diesel Dalvin, Jonathan Bullard is solid against a run, but still 111 yards are allowed on the ground, 6.2 yards per carry. But Aaron Jones, respect. A.J. Dillon, respect. That is a very solid duo. But the fact that they did that with 2 backup tackles, I don't know. I don't know, man. But that still is a work in progress. Need to get after that. Next up, thing number 6, utilizing Kendricks, especially what Kendricks does best, which is coverage. Eric Kendricks, for my money, even as he's getting up there in age, is still the best coverage linebacker in the National Football League. And like we said after the game, his running mate on the inside, Jordan Hicks, in coverage, he was targeted sometimes. All right, we got a lot of pushback. Jordan Hicks had a phenomenal game. Yes, he made a lot of tackles, but a lot of his tackles were his dudes catching the ball in coverage and then him tackling them. And then yes, he had he was part of the strip sack of Aaron Rodgers. Respect, but that doesn't minimize the fact, or that doesn't make up for the fact that that Jordan Hicks was sort of an issue in coverage. Now, I would like to see some Brian Asamoah, whose forte is coverage as well, but Kendricks, dropping into that deep part of the middle of the field, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for quarterbacks going forward. Next up, thing number 7 we learned about the Vikings defense: cash on money down. So 3rd down, 4th down, the Vikings did the damn thing. 3 of 9 on 3rd, 0 for 2 for the Packers on 4th down. Absolutely phenomenal performance for them on the money downs. Thing number 8, pressure with 4. So the Vikings did bring heat sporadically, but the thing about the 3-4, which is fantastic, is you don't really know which guy is going to rush. So it could be the outside linebackers. You could see the defensive lineman dropping into zone coverage. You could see this, could see that. So not only are they moving all the pieces around up front, you don't know exactly where the pass rush is going to be. And sitting back with 7 in coverage while you're getting pressure with 4 because you've confused the offensive linemen, their assignments are all messed up. It's a beautiful thing, man. Because that's how you play winning football, getting pressure on the quarterback while he's sitting out there looking at 7 defenders, just sitting back there, just waiting for him to make a mistake. Love it, man. Next up, thing number 9 we learned from the Vikings' defensive debut: too deep. And this plays into getting pressure with 4, where if you don't have to blitz, if you don't have to send a blitzer, you have to send 5 or 6, you can sit back there with 2 deep safeties, and the Vikings did that quite a bit. You had Harrison Smith, Cam Beasley just sitting back playing the deep halves of the field, and that's frustrating for a quarterback because the big time plays are when it's against cover 1, when it's against cover 0, where it's just man-to-man across the board. You can chuck it up there, but it's hard to go deep when you got 2 safeties just sitting back there on the back end, just waiting for you to serve up a meatball. Lastly, thing number 10 we learned about the Vikings defense: worried about cornerbacks. And like we said, there are some wrinkles that do need to be ironed out. And I think the Vikings, they benefited greatly from the Packers not having a wide receiver 1. And even if Allen Lazard played, he's certainly not a wide receiver 1. But Philly, they go deep at wide receiver, man. A.J. Brown showed up and showed out. Fantastic debut in Philly. He's a stud. Devontae Smith didn't get the time of day against the Lions, except he's a stud. Goddard, they move all over the place, use it like a wide receiver at times. So, I mean, Patrick Peterson had his good and bad moments against the Packers. I mean, obviously, he got cooked by Christian Watson in the first play. Should have been a 75-yard touchdown. That would have been on Peterson, but I don't know, man. Like Cam Dantzler missed a little bit with cramps. He's going to be fine. Andrew Booth Jr. is probably going to miss the game due to a quad injury. Caleb Evans, can he get some run? Can he get someone going? Shadon Sullivan, I still have questions about in the slot, but yeah, overall, I think there's a lot to like about this defense, and things like this, the cornerback room, things like the run defense are hopefully going to get sutured up as the season goes along. But hey, number one thing, they can get after the quarterback's ass. They can even get after the quarterback with 4, and that is the great equalizer in this league on defense. So, got to be fired up about Donatell and company. But that's it. It was a 10 things we learned about the new Vikings defense. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.